pretty simple. I win. Hello, guys, and welcome to Indiana Sports Connection. I am your residential anchor, Aaron. Thank you so much for being here and being part of this community. We're going to talk about the Big Ten season starts tonight, and this might be kind of a trap game. Minnesota, even though Minnesota is down and dirty and not having the best of luck, we'll talk about Minnesota, but it's not to be understated. Like going up there, playing in the barn, it's just not a place that anybody ever wants to go. I guess I'd rather go there now than in like the end of January, but we'll get into all of that. But the DeVries era starts the Big Ten season tonight. So you want to beat this team the way you're supposed to beat them, and you want to play this team the way you're supposed to play them and show up and not have this be any type of a close affair. So we'll talk about all that on this episode. But first, if this is your first time here, hit the subscribe button down below. I appreciate it so much. And hit the thumbs up button. This is Indiana Sports Connection. I am your residential anchor. That is the Hillbilly Monkey. I have more edited videos coming out. I'm sorry. I'm just so backed up. I'm working on some videos on Fiverr and things right now. So it's tough. It's a tough world out there. So, but we got this video coming at you today. Tomorrow, I'm going to try to get the video out tomorrow about the Big Ten championship game and everything like that, and my prediction for that, because I know everybody is pumped up for, and that's why maybe this is kind of a trap game for Indiana with the Louisville game coming up on a neutral site this Saturday against Louisville. You know, you do not want to overlook Minnesota in this contest. And I guess I always think back to, the days when Clem Haskins was there, and it was always a tough game to play them, even though we mostly beat them all the time. But it can be a tough place to play. I've always heard different players say, and tonight, I believe tonight's temperature is going to get down to 0 here. So in Minnesota, it's going to be super cold. I've heard so many people say they leave the doors open there and the balls get hard. I don't know if they still do that, but I've heard it's cavernous. It's cold inside of there. So if you have been there, tell me what it is like, because I've never been there myself. That's on my bucket list if I'm ever getting through there. But and we'll also talk about where Indiana ranks right now in the KenPom or in the net rating, because the first rankings of that came out and they're ranked number 11th in the preliminary. And so we'll talk about, I have a list somebody made for me, but we'll show where they were in the past years. But Minnesota right now, let's get into it, because they have a new coach this year and they have got a bunch of injuries. So, and shout out to Alec Bozich. He, puts out a lot of great articles, kind of detailing exactly what's going on with them, because I watch a lot of teams, but Minnesota is not one of those teams. They get to the line a lot. They have done a great job of getting to the free throw line, and I'll throw this up there. And if you notice on this list right here, where they rank super high in this third to last category down here, it's opponents' free throws. Indiana does not get to the line a whole bunch, and Minnesota, they are fourth in that category in all of college basketball. So that's the main thing to watch. Minnesota, they get to the line a whole bunch. A bunch of these other metrics, I mean, Indiana really just completely blows them out of the water. Looking at those stats, it's not really even close to being comparable. But Minnesota gets the line. That's the one thing to look at. And they rebound the ball decently as well. Yeah, they're good on the offensive glass. I'm trying to look, who are the two guys that they've had injured recently, because I was looking up all the stats of them, and we could go through those, but it's, their injuries are one of the main things. All right. Yeah, it's Medved's first year. Ben Johnson was there. I always felt bad for that guy. Just sometimes you just go in somewhere. I don't know if he was there 3 or 4 years, but he just did not ever seem to get recruits. Even a couple of times when Indiana played them in the past few years, like, it seemed like they always had bad injuries, and now they have injuries again. So, I know, like, their main point guard was injured last year, and maybe the year before. So, it was okay, BJ Ahmet, potential starter, the forward, he is out for them. And 2 starters, Robert Viola and Chauncey Willis have recently gone down with injuries. Um, Willis is a 6'2" guard, so I mean they got 3 guys going down on this team where they don't previously have a bunch of experience. So Cade Tyson, I mean, he's gonna be one of the biggest players to watch for Minnesota. He used to play at Belmont, and he had a really bad season at North Carolina last year. Um, and yeah, he's a 6'7" wing. He's trying to make it at Minnesota. Some of these guys go from Belmont to like North Carolina, then they got to go to a Minnesota, kind of a in between place. So, I mean, this dude's trying to. Hopefully, that guy Fox is not on their team anymore. I think he played like 7 seasons, but Jalen Crocker Johnson, he followed Medved from Colorado State. He's 6'8" and 240 pounds. I mean, he is Sam Alexis or Reed Bailey. He's going to be the main guy down low to get a body on. I really want to see Indiana take it to this team, and Minnesota does a great job on the offensive glass. So can Indiana really like go into a game like this with a game plan where a team where Indiana is a lot more talented than them, has a lot more that they could do against Minnesota, but make it an issue to beat them on the offensive glass and do those things. Minnesota will, they're a team that draws a lot of fouls, obviously. So it's going to be a type of game where Indiana, you do not want to foul them. And going into Big Ten play, we'll see if this game, being a Big Ten game, if it's officiated different. It always seems like the games start to be officiated different once you get into the real league play in January. But that's something to keep an eye on as well, because we know that these officials, but it's just the officiating. It seems like in the last 10 years, officiating has really went in the toilet, like just across the board. But let's take a look here. This is where Indiana has been in the net ratings all of these last years. I mean, you can see last year they rose some, but being at 11 at the beginning of this, and I'm going to tell you, like, I don't understand the net rating 100%. It goes by KenPom. They take the metrics from like Torvac as well. They take the quad one win. They take all of these different things. They mix it together. But I do know this, that one of the main things is like, if you look at the betting lines, like if Indiana is favored by 7, like in the game tonight, and say they only won by 7, that would keep you like about even. And then they go through, every single thing, like rebound, they have a metric for rebounding, like how many rebounds should they get? How many assists? How many points should they score? All of those things. So being at 11 to start this, and the reason why, I mean, like last year, even though it didn't seem like we got better as the season went on, in the Big Ten, you're going to have so many opportunities. So you see, I think that was Archie Miller's last year. They were 51, and he completely crapped the bed. 21-22, I think, was the year when they just had the one game in the first 4, and then they lost to St. Mary's. That year they started out 56. They ended up 44. But starting out in the 50s, you got an uphill battle. I mean, you got to really think you got to be in the mid 30s or around 40 at least to be like a bubble type team in a lot of these years. I mean, I know it's a little different every year, but and then 22-23, I mean, they started out with I think that was the year the players that brought in were like Miller Kopp and Xavier Johnson. So, I mean, how they had a 10 rating to start that season out, and then they went to 31 in that year. And then the Kalel Ware year, they were 137 and they ended up at 96 and missed the tournament. And then this last year, 71. So right here, this number 11, I love that they're right there at this stage of where we're at because it is that's what all of the tournament goes by, and that's why even like this early on in the season, and I mean they have to play the way. That's why they have to beat Minnesota tonight by the margin they're supposed to beat them by. Because, and I think Darren DeVries understands that. You can already see that. Yeah, maybe they had a couple of games where, and even the 2 games where they didn't shoot the ball as well, their defense played really well. So, I mean, you're also your defensive efficiency is rated in that net rating as well. So, but it's just much better to see Indiana with really a completely new roster to be at that point. To think that all of those years past, we had guys coming back or some type of continuity that you would think like the team would like meld and grow together. No, it's just like we had no real a plan for a lot of those players on any of those teams. So just ended up killing us in the end. So that is like a hugely positive sign for Indiana at the beginning of December because they just you can't get blown out in games. That's what really kills you. If you're supposed to beat a team by 10 and you play like Northwestern at home and you're favored by 10, and then they end up beating you by 10. That's where in the past like last year when you watch their net rating every time, like when we got blown out by Illinois, you'll drop like a good like 15 points sometimes, and a loss like that can be really devastating in the net rating. So that is a great thing to see Indiana at that point. But I don't foresee this to be like a tough game. The main thing that would concern me in this would be playing in the barn and it being not just a really kind of like turns into like a wonky game where they're going to the free throw line a whole bunch. Um, but you need to see Alexis and Reed Bailey. I really want to see the team rebounding. The assists have been crazy how many assists Indiana's had. So, I mean, you can see this team has a real identity, like the things they do really well, but the things that they don't do well, you do hear DeVries always talking about that this team really has to rebound the ball. So, let's talk about a few games. I watched Iowa last night, and I know we were on the cusp of having Ben McCollum come to Indiana, but Iowa in that game against Michigan State's trying to run, and Iowa's really trying to use like all of the shot clock. I see that type of system I would hate to watch because even though Iowa does shoot some 3-pointers and they do some of that type of thing, and that was my second time watching Iowa, but my first time watching them against a decent team. So I don't know. I do not think Iowa's gonna be that great. They were fouling. They were fouling so much. They were in the bonus. Like Michigan State, I think, was shooting, and this was only, I think, about the 14-minute mark. So Iowa was fouling like crazy. Really, Iowa got out and got ahead of Michigan State, but it was just kind of my first chance of seeing like what the Ben McCollum Iowa teams are gonna look like. And I don't know. It was a tough watch. Maybe they were just having a terrible shooting night, but they don't seem to have anybody super big. Michigan State, on the other hand, looks like another really, really good team. They've kind of blended in like a couple of transfers with some of the big guys they brought back, like Kohler, and I'm terrible with their names, but the 2 big dudes on Michigan State that came back, and then mixing that in with some of the guards they have and a couple of transfers. Michigan State is going to be really good. I mean, we already know Michigan is ranked number 1 in Ken Palm, and Michigan and Purdue are like 1 and 2 in the country right there. So, But the Big Ten season starts tonight. You do not want to start out with a loss. You know, Indiana kind of has, not kind of has, but they have a really easy start to the Big Ten schedule. Even once we get into January, they got like a couple of weeks before it really ramps up and it gets difficult. So they really need to take advantage and try to get like, when I've looked at the schedule before, I've thought they could start out 5-1 easily in the Big Ten. So, um, you just definitely want to see them like get out to a great start in this game. And yes, I like our new coach too. And I am gonna do a live stream during this game. So look for I decided I'm gonna start doing it for every game and we'll see how it goes. So I mean, there are times during the game I can almost just be like apoplectic, I think. So I mean, we'll see how it goes during the game, but yeah, I do. I will leave your comments down below, and yeah, if you want to hang out during the game, and yeah, I'm just trying to find ways get more subscribers on here, and like, share the video, all of that good stuff. And until next time, stay classy out there, Hoosier fans.